years forward.
According to Emma Watson, while also filming the movie for up to 12 hours a day. They would run from the set to the tutoring trailer for a 15-minute lesson, back to hair and makeup, and on set again all day long. After all this, it seems like making the Chamber of Secrets was a...
I guess let's head to bed. Tomorrow is gonna be my actual first day in here. In this mental facility in the medical world. Great. Let's head to bed, I guess. Head to my room. Then go out in the courtyard. Close the door, close this door. Close it, there we are. Let's head out to my room, I guess, now. Tomorrow is gonna be my first day in here. Great. My room. Is it this room? This room? Yeah, okay, cool. Let's head to bed, I guess. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, it's 7 AM, dude. Let's head out, I guess. Go out in the courtyard, in the yard. You know what I fucking mean, dude. I wish I did successfully kill myself. Man. But, I didn't, yo. I didn't successfully kill myself. That sucks, but oh well, I guess I'm here now at the mental facility in the fucking medical world. Man, I wish I did successfully kill myself. That would be good. But I didn't.
Amazing experience for everyone involved, and we're sure that none of the crew would trade it even for a second.
We enter completely our own world.
The Prisoner of Azkaban is one of the best.
Fall in love with Hungry Jack's fried chicken burgers. Big, crunchy,
Fuck off,
juicy
you teddy
chicken.
ads.
New Jack's fried chicken. The burgers are better at Hungry Jack's.
Let's have a join, I guess,
Harry Potter
for the
movies.
day.
But it's also when things started getting serious. On set, things were more like in this scene, where he encourages Emma to follow her instincts.
If it helps.
The final design
I'm
for
fucking hungry, dog. Let's polish the bitch and go to the cafeteria. Down here, I'm fucking hungry. Man, I'm fucking hungry. Hopefully they have double cheeseburger, man. What the fuck? Let's ask. Excuse me, what's up? Yeah, do you have double cheeseburgers here? Sure, we have them. Do you want one or two? This one would do. Cool. We will bring it to you. All good. Let's sit down here on my own. Let's watch.
this Swamping Willows
There you go,
scene was fun
so
to film. And maybe
thank
just
you.
a
Have
bit
a good
dangerous.
one.
Emma hopped
Yeah,
on
you
a fake
too.
ranch
Let's
to
eat the
swung
bitches.
around 8 days straight.
Oh, fuck it, that's a good burger. Man. I wish one day I get accepted to Hogwarts. Like, hell yeah, I'll be happy. It'll be my dream come true. But, I'm stuck here in this mental facility, dude. So, yeah. Hopefully one day, though, I get accepted to fucking Hogwarts. Man, I'll be so excited and happy. But until that day, I'm gonna know my school when I get out of this mental facility.
Sets were constantly being washed out. The actors had to be followed around with umbrellas, and they even had to use helicopters like this one to fly in gravel to fill in areas that had been wiped away by all the water. But one perk to all that rain was that it created a constantly gloomy and gray tone, which ended up being perfect for the movie.
The Yule Ball is first and foremost a dance.
You might think that battles, monsters, and magic spells would have been the biggest challenges behind making Harry Potter, but one unexpected scene proved to be the scariest of all: the Yule Ball.
I think I'll take the dragon right now.
That's right. By the time the Goblet of Fire rolled around, the cast and crew were already total pros at filming those big, complicated action scenes. But dancing, dressing up, and romance? Well, that was a whole other story. You'd think that having to pretend to cast spells, fight enormous dragons and other magical creatures, and survive countless near-death experiences would be the toughest parts of acting in Harry Potter movies. But it turns out that there was one thing that terrified the actors more than any threatening obstacles they had ever faced before, and that was...
What?
dancing. While they all knew it was coming, when it came to having to learn to not only dance, but ballroom dance during the Yule Ball, not a single one of the young actors were looking forward to it. Well, that's not totally true. According to Emma Watson, there was a big difference between the girls and boys. The girls were all pretty excited to give it a try, but the boys, on the other hand, wanted nothing to do with it.
The girls are so eager, and the guys just not there, not wanting to do it at all.
And we don't really blame them. Not only did they have to ballroom dance for the first time in their lives, they had to do it in front of hundreds of other kids and an entire
That's formally.
But no one had it quite as tough as Rupert, who, if you remember in the movie, had to take a dance lesson in front of everyone with Professor McGonagall herself, Maggie Smith. Apparently, he felt just as awkward about it as Ron did, because when he sat back down next to Oliver and James Phelps, who played Fred and George, he muttered to them not to say a word about what had just happened. So, of course they had to poke fun at him. And it doesn't seem like it was all that easy for Maggie, either.
Was pretty strenuous.
But don't worry, they weren't just thrown in front of the camera and told to waltz perfectly. They actually had 3 weeks of full-time dance training before they started to film the Yule Ball scenes. Working with professional ballroom dance teachers and choreographers definitely helped them get the steps down. But that doesn't mean they all turned into mini Zac Efrons, prancing around with all the confidence in the world. Oh no. Many of the actors still would have passed on the dancing entirely if they were given the chance. Matthew Lewis, who plays the notoriously awkward Neville Longbottom, definitely didn't relish the whole experience of learning the complicated ballroom steps one bit. Luckily for Tom Felton, he knew that he wasn't the only one out there who was feeling a little foolish, and that everyone around him was feeling just as silly as he was. So it wasn't all bad. While everyone else was getting the hang of it with weeks of group training, poor Daniel was so busy filming other scenes that he was actually only given 4 days to catch up and learn the moves before they were set to film. And not only does he have to dance, he has to dance in front of the entire school with the other champions. So the pressure was really on for the young actor's first ever dance scene. Luckily, Harry was never supposed to be the best dancer in the world, so all of his adorable missteps and less than smooth moves were totally perfect for the character at that moment, who was also completely terrified and in way over his head. Finally, they did manage to finish all of the formal dance moments and could move on to the more fun Weird Sisters concert. After all of the stress and tension of making sure that every waltz step was perfect, the whole cast was finally allowed to really let loose and mosh for the first time ever at Hogwarts. And yet, even that sounds a lot easier than it actually is, when you're 100 teenagers in wizard robes trying to forget about the giant cameras circling around you. But they managed to totally pull it off and give the scene the burst of energy that it needed. One of the things we love about the Harry Potter movies is that we got to watch the characters really grow up over the course of 8 movies. And that goes for the actors too, which is really what set the Goblet of Fire apart from all the other movies that had come before. For the first time, The actors and the characters were teenagers, and that brought on a ton of changes, which became very obvious when it came time to film the Yule Ball. The producers and all the other older actors noticed such a difference in the way the young cast behaved around one another, and just how awkward things were starting to get, which they thought was totally perfect for the energy of the entire movie, and especially the formal dancing celebrating the Triwizard Tournament. When you watch the scene and see how awkward it is for the boys and girls to interact once they're all dressed up, most of what you see is totally real. When it came to asking Cho Chang out to the dance, Daniel Radcliffe didn't have to work hard to tap into how uncomfortable it can be to ask out your crush. And Rupert Grint actually thought the acting part was a whole lot easier than having to ask someone out for real.
Real life is pretty scary.
There is really no way for us to talk about the Yule Ball without talking about the awesome costumes that made the whole thing come to life. The costume designer knew that fans' expectations were going to be really high for this moment, so she and her team worked hard to bring a high level of fantasy to the big screen. And there is no doubt that the entire cast were really excited to get to change out of their school robes and into their finest dress robes for a night. Well, almost the entire cast. While everyone else got to dress up and look their best, we all know what happened to Ron.
Dress.
And it's safe to say that Rupert Grint wasn't all that happy about it either.
I heard
but
you.
there was one reveal that did take...
Give me a second, what's that? I heard you on the go to Hogwarts. I was listening. Yeah, I do, but there's no way I'll get accepted into Hogwarts. I'm a demon, for fuck's sake. Well, technically, I'm the son of the Demon King. I'll tell you what, I can get you into Hogwarts, but you have to do me a favour. What's up? Fuck me, that's all you have to do. I want to get revenge on my fucking boyfriend. Fair enough. Cool. Done.
Take everyone's breath away. In a good way. When Hermione first stepped out in her pink gown, a lot of fans were a bit disappointed that it wasn't the blue they had imagined from reading the book. But what they didn't know is how many different versions of the dress were designed, before finally settling on the light pink one that really suited Emma Watson's version of Hermione the best. It wasn't all glitz and glamour, however, as Emma tripped on her long skirt and almost
hell
fell
yeah,
down the
can't
stairs
believe
on
I'm gonna
first
go
take.
to Hogwarts when I get out of here.
Once they were all in costume and ready to
hell
go,
yeah,
the actors
buddy.
were brought into the famously breathtaking Great Hall. And
My
for a handful of the
dream come
actors,
true,
the set really did
finally!
take their
Go
breath
to
away.
Hogwarts!
The crew had really built huge crystal icicles that hung from the magic ceiling, brought in Christmas trees that stood multiple stories high,
buddy,
and
go to
added
Hogwarts,
a ton
can't,
of incredibly
in the
ornate
UK.
decorations on all of the walls and tables,
my dream
transforming
finally
the already
come
impressive
true,
Great Hall into the
dog.
ice palace that everyone who read the book had imagined. Of course, some things in the wizarding world couldn't be done for real, so with the help of a little bit of CGI magic,
I'm just so
the Great Hall was
excited
really
when
brought
I
to
get
life
out
in
of
the final
here,
film.
you know.
Animators added gently
Hell
falling snow
yeah,
that never quite
dude.
reached the ground, a night sky full of glittering stars above the dance floor, and torches glowing warmly along the halls in order to truly capture just how enchanting the Yule Ball would have been. All of the hard work that went into the making of the Yule Ball, from the dancing to the costumes to the amazing
buddy, I'm
set
so
that was
excited.
made even more beautiful through
I
CGI,
can't wait until I
came
get
together
to
to create
Hogwarts.
something that really was magic. After all of that, they must have been thrilled to go back to fighting dragons in the Dark Lord. You know, the easy stuff.
Floor is on.
I
It's a
always
special
want to go
material,
to
so you
Hogwarts.
have to wear these sort of
But now I can go when I get the fuck out of here,
We're still
dude.
discovering behind-the-scenes secrets from the Harry Potter franchise. Today, we're covering all the must-know trivia from Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. How
So,
did the
what's
actors
your
cause
name?
chaos on a construction set? Why
Candy.
did Daniel Radcliffe's scream have to be
Fair
silent?
enough.
So that's your
What are you, pretty much?
knowledge for today.
I am the queen
Working
of
on
the
a movie in
Nether.
the Harry Potter franchise means a lot of time
Cool.
on set, which also means a lot of time to fill with activities and shenanigans.
How old are
When
you,
shooting
Candy?
Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, the cast had a variety of
26
activities to
years
keep them
old.
busy when they weren't learning potions and battling the Dark Lord.
What about
When
you?
they weren't playing Quidditch, the young
I'm
wizards were outside
15
playing
and
another
my name
sport,
is Isaac.
cricket. That's
They
right.
smoke
Here
weed
we can see Matthew
and
Lewis
smoke
and Alfred
candy.
Enoch sharpening up their cricket
So
skills. Or
cool.
trying to, at
He's
least.
doing the smoke.
We wonder how
Thanks.
often they took homework breaks.
Got some info. One of the tutors, which I haven't done.
Daniel Radcliffe and Gary Oldman didn't just bond on screen. They spent quality time together off screen as well.
How many films have you done?
Memory fuck, can you make me gag and choke me?
As for Nymphadora
Sure,
Tonks
baby.
actress
Do it
Natalia
go out?
Tena, music was
Sure.
more her style. Here she
Might
is in
as
her trailer
well.
playing some of her own original songs.
Since I'm most
Evidently,
likely
the cast is full
gonna
of
get
surprise
divorced with my
talents. It
boyfriend
wasn't all
after
fun and
this,
games, though.
even though he
Remember
cheated
that
on
many
me.
of the actors were
But
still
I
in
know.
school and regularly needed to do homework. The team did take
Love you,
a
baby
planned
Candy.
9-week break
Love
from
you too,
filming
baby
Daniel
Isaac, the
Radcliffe
son
and Emma
of
Watson. The two
the
actors
son
had to
of
do some
the
major
Demon
school
King.
exams.
I have worked hard every single day that I was at that school.
While the actors were working, they got to learn some new skills in the wizarding world, with wand choreography. Since the 5th film in the series incorporated a lot of high-level wand work, Paul Harris, a dance choreographer, was brought in to teach the actors how best to work with the styles and techniques to really bring their wizarding to life. They had 5 basic moves to use, with every character adding their own special touches to each according to their personality. This work was definitely intense. So much so that many of the actors actually wound up breaking their wands, resulting in them using rubber ones instead, which were more durable than the wood.
Breaking the most ones throughout the films. I think it's about 10.
At the time of this film, the record holder for the most wands broken was Devin Murray, who'd already gone through 10 different wands. Wands can be very dangerous business, and no one would know that better than Matthew Lewis, who suffered a perforated eardrum after Helena Bonham Carter accidentally stabbed his ear with a wand. Speaking of Bonham Carter, the actress happened to have some enhancements for the movie. She'd had chicken fillet inserts to put inside her bra while shooting.
What's this rubbish? What's this rubbish, he says?
This could sort of be considered character work. The Weasley twins were always practicing to up their trickery game. The actors
You got
were
a fat
notorious
ass,
for
by the
playing
way,
with pranks on set,
Candy.
but one really
Thanks.
blew them all away
And nice
and
tits
actually
too.
got the twins and
Thanks.
their little sister
You're
into a
welcome.
bit of trouble. There was a big construction site across from a studio the movie was shooting in, and the Weasley siblings weaseled their way onto the site's walkie-talkie channel. There were plenty of devices around the set, so the actors thought it would be fun to tell the construction workers that they could go home, and it probably was. Until the gaffer caught them and gave them a very good talking to.
Mischief managed. Otherwise anyone could read it.
There were some more laughs that happened on set that weren't trick-related. Those came around with the kissing scenes. Remember how the trio giggled throughout talking about Harry kissing Cho?
I'm sure Harry's kissing was more than satisfactory.
All that was real. The actors kept cracking up, and it was just so enjoyable that the team kept the cameras rolling, and it made the final edit. It's no surprise, considering there was quite a build-up. Katie Leung was pretty nervous about the kiss and really prepared herself mentally beforehand. But then, when the planned shoot date came, the kiss had to wait because Radcliffe wound up being sick.
Daniel is a very good kisser.
When it came to stunts, Rupert Grint had a pretty strange experience when shooting the scene where Hermione throws Ron across a room. Usually, there would just be a harness, but to really help show the stunt realistically, Grint was strapped to a much larger man who was moving up and down a ladder. It is pretty hard to think of Harry Potter without Emma Watson, who Grint did Radcliffe central to the movies. But the fact is, Order of the Phoenix was almost Watson's last film with the franchise. The actress had seriously considered leaving the role so she could concentrate on other pursuits. After taking some time to weigh the pros and cons, Watson felt that it would have been way too strange to watch any other actress play the role that she'd grown up doing, so she made the choice to stay until the end. We are definitely glad she did.
I definitely made the right decision.
Another gem from the wizarding world is Luna Lovegood. It was the role of a lifetime for the actress, since she'd actually been a fan of the series since she was 8 years old. And her favorite character was? You guessed it, Luna.
Well, if I were, you know who, I'd want you to feel cut off from everyone else.
She got to bring a bit more of herself to the role as well. The multi-talented actress actually made the radish earrings that we see her wearing. Building the incredible settings we see throughout the 5th film is extensive and always impressive. Sometimes it could even be pretty dangerous. The The Ministry of Magic building took 22 weeks to build and was only on screen for about 10 minutes.
How far do you
The
want
set
Magic
was,
to
of
go?
course, rigged up to
All
be
the way
exploded,
in.
meaning
Fair
if
enough.
the cast had their cell phones on set,
Baby
they could
candy.
have accidentally triggered it and blown the set up. There were also some buildings that were just too expensive to be in the movie. Sirius Black's London residence, Grimmauld Place, was built by the film team since the building they needed to shoot in would have been too expensive. It says a lot, considering the fact that constructing a set like this isn't that cheap either. Speaking of the Black family, this gorgeous family tree has the names of over 70 different members of the Black family that J.K. Rowling created for the movie.
I've never used the visitor's entrance before. Should be fun.
The Ministry of Magic was brought to life with two very different techniques: painted cardboard and full-on CGI. While pretty well every setting in the movies is epic, the Department of Mysteries, where this wild battle takes place, was actually the very first shot in the movies to be entirely created with CGI. We don't blame them, considering how major that cleanup would have been.
Get back to the door!
We're a bit surprised the team didn't choose to use CGI for the 30,000 individual tiles that were added to the Ministry set by hand. The so-called tiles were actually made out of cardboard covered in very thick paint, as real tiles would have been far too expensive. The ingenuity of the team doesn't stop there, though. How does Mad-Eye Moody manage to ride a broomstick with a prosthetic leg? A specially customized broom. Instead of the stirrups the other actors used, actor Brendan Gleeson rode a broom that had posts at the front for his legs and a seat for him to sit on.
Stay in formation, everyone. Don't break ranks.
One of our absolute favorite references in the whole movie has to be Harry's nod to a beloved character, Remus Lupin.
You know, the very first time I saw you, Harry, I recognized you immediately.
If Harry's teaching fashion is familiar, then it's probably because it's very closely modeled after the clothes Professor Lupin wore during Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Radcliffe brought the idea to his producers because he thought it would be a good way to pay respect to the professor he'd looked up to so much.
People like me are... well, let's just say that I'm used to it by now.
The creative choices in this film really made it a standout. One in particular still manages to move us every time we see it. Harry's scream after Sirius Black passes away. The choice to make the heartbreaking moment silent was reportedly because the actual scream recorded was so painful that it made Emma Watson and Helena Bonham Carter actually cry.
I'm gonna
They
break
can't
it
even
out of
imagine
here.
watching and hearing
Not
the scene in
straight
person.
away,
The original
but I'll
audio
tell
has
you
still
when.
never been released publicly.
When I have a
As for
plan,
this
then
terrifying
we'll move
moment,
to the
wacky
United
eye-colored
Kingdom.
change Harry has is courtesy of CGI, as opposed to contacts.
I'll be a
since,
teacher
of
there
course,
on
Radcliffe
Nurse
wasn't
Day
able to wear contacts.
for ya.
As with all the films,
Thanks.
they aren't entirely
You're
consistent
welcome.
with what's written in the novels.
But it
One
won't
of the more
happen
notable
today.
changes in this movie
Most
was, of
likely,
course,
or
the purple
tomorrow.
hair Tonks has
I
instead
have to
of the
figure out a
cigarette pink
way
she's
how to
described as
break
having
you out
in the
of this
novel.
mental
Team
facility.
felt Pink was too
Fair
associated
enough.
with
I
Dolores
can't
Umbridge
use the
and didn't
spell
want
to
there to be
help
any
us
connections between the
out
two characters.
because
did about 30 minutes to prepare
boss
every
here
single day.
decided
Part
to
of her real hair
disenchantment
dyed
all
as well as
magic.
a purple lace wig that she had on.
So you
Another
cannot
change
lose
was
any
crucially
magic here.
included in the movie.
Even
While
your
his role
wand.
isn't huge, it was
Or any
important
type
enough
of
to add to the
magic.
script that Dr. J.K. Rowling
Besides
insisted he be
these
included,
apples,
in order
like
for other
extra
scenes
life
that needed to happen
apples,
in the future to
yeah.
make sense. All his scenes were
That's all
actually
you
added
can
after the
read.
principal shooting.
Fair enough.
Then, of course, how could we forget Nigel? Well, if you've only read the books, then you absolutely wouldn't know who Nigel is, since he was a character created just for the movie, without any mention in the book series. As for the characters that were in the novels, the Bellatrix Lestrange we got in the movies was almost played by another actress pretty close to home. Helen McCrory was originally set to play Bellatrix, but after learning she was pregnant, the role went to Helena Bonham Carter. Luckily, we did get to meet her later on as Narcissa Malfoy. Both roles are pretty impeccably cast in the end.
Want the inside scoop on Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince? We've got you covered. We all know and love the Harry Potter series, with the Half-Blood Prince being one of the classics. But did you know about all the magic and effort put into the behind-the-scenes production that made the movie come to life?
Wand's ready, broomstick's ready, and away we go!
Right from the get-go, it seems like Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince is chock full of special and practical effects, which make the film stand out. As the production team has led on, this Harry Potter film has about the same amount of special effects as any of the other films. These special effects stand apart from the other films, though, in how they are integrated into the scenes. The use of CGI and other effects is much more blended into the real-world acting and settings that the film uses.
With explosive devices and all the various parts of the bathroom, so as soon as you spell someone, just blow it up.
The behind-the-scenes of these effects makes the film all the more interesting to watch in its final form. It's crazy to think about all the possibilities that arise when a simple green screen is involved. Green screens were used throughout this film to create the CGI effects that blow viewers away. For the Quidditch scenes in the film, the use of blue screens was truly imperative to creating the right shots. In reality, actors were simply seated on bicycle seats and fitted with a harness on something that resembled a broomstick while placed in front of a blue screen. All the magic of the Quidditch game and the intense background and action were mostly added in digitally.
It's quite tricky filming that because there's nothing to react to.
One really interesting and unique iteration of the green screen is in the magical bookshelf scene of the Half-Blood Prince. In this behind-the-scenes look, we can see green hands extending from the bookshelves that Hermione is standing in front of. In the end, these hands would be digitally erased, leaving behind the effect of books magically being placed back in their rightful spots within the library. In the Burrow burn scene, we can see a blue screen extending in the background of the shot. This blue screen was used to enhance the locational setting where the scene was actually taking place. In the Burrow burn scene, wherein the Weasley family home is attacked by Bellatrix Lestrange, special and practical effects were used to set the stage for the gruesome attack on the family home. The special effects team used real fire to simulate the attack, with a ring of fire spreading around the set at almost 420 feet long. Special effects specialist John Richardson claimed that the Ring of Fire was definitely a learning process, as the crew had to learn and relearn what ways to make the fire work best on the set.
You're Aragog, aren't you?
Yes.
The character, if you can call it that, of Aragog was also a huge component of the practical effects that made the film truly stand out. The practical effects team needed to make a completely new giant spider for this film, says makeup and creature effects designer Nick Dutman.
He's essentially the same character and he looks essentially the same. Although we've upgraded him a little.
Says Dutman. In the creation of this spidery creature, the special effects team chose a material to produce the spider that was translucent, to try to mimic what a real dead bug might look like. It took a team of over a dozen people to work on Aragog, including tasks like filling the mold to airbrushing final details. In fact, it took a team of 6 to 7 people just to work on placing the spider hairs on the giant creature, which took weeks on end. The amount of effort that went into creating this giant spider really paid off when paired with the acting seen in the film.
Seriously misunderstood creatures spiders are.
Let's have a smoke now, baby candy.
As Nick Dudman
Done,
states,
baby.
Very often, even just an inanimate object like that can have a
What?
motive moment,
Yep.
which is nice.
bringing the cave scene to magical life was a hugely important step in the process of making the Half-Blood Prince. The production team did a lot of research on caves, looking into different
We're doing
rock
the fuck
formations
out,
to use,
basically.
leading them to the
My
crystal cave
room
idea.
or
They visited a
in
quartz
my
crystal
office.
cave in Switzerland
Don't worry,
and
there's
sent
no
to Germany to
security
find
cameras
inspiration.
in there.
They also took inspiration from the cliffs of Moher in Ireland.
Rocky
for
the
iconic cave
boss
scene. The set
don't.
itself was too large
The
of a
boss
scale to fully
of this
build, so the
place
team took to
don't
using
want
CGI
security
to animate
cameras
the setting, having
in
gained confidence
the
for their first
offices
all-CG
for
scene in
privacy
Harry Potter
reasons.
5.
Let me say.
Fair enough.
Your blood's much more precious than mine.
As the film opens, the viewers watch as Death Eaters make their way through both the Wizarding World and the Muggle World, tearing apart a pedestrian bridge as they fly through the sky. It's interesting to take an exclusive look behind the scenes of the making of this scene, as a lot more went into it than one might initially expect. What you might not have figured out about this scene is the insane amount of effort that went into getting those soaring shots through the British skies. It took the use of one helicopter and one stabilized camera to get the perfect shot, and then, obviously, quite a bit of CGI magic to place the Death Eaters within the scene. The acting in all the Harry Potter films worked to set these mainly child star-studded films apart from the rest. It's no surprise that the acting performances from stars like Emma Watson, Daniel Radcliffe, and Rupert Grint also shine through in Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince.
None
What
of
were
you?
their experiences like behind the
Sure.
scenes and
Cool.
on set? Let's dive in.
Don't you trust me?
Let's start off with the acting involved in Harry and Ginny's love story. The blossoming of Harry and Ginny's romance
We
takes
will
a
buy a
central role in
place
Half-Blood
in
Prince.
London.
The first kiss shared between the two counting as a
in the
pivotal
magical
scene in
world.
film. As the
Yep.
actress behind the kiss dish,
We will
it
sure
wasn't
will
as smooth
buy,
and romantic in
a
real
place.
life as it seemed in the
Has
film.
London
Whenever I have to,
changed?
have a look at the scene,
Yeah.
all the crew, it's a bit embarrassing.
It's
but
changed a
you
lot.
just gotta accept it.
Basically, I've been there and it's fucking changed.
Since he knew actress Bonnie Wright, who plays Ginny, since she was
The
just a
old
child
London
about 10
is
years
gone.
old.
It's all modernized in the magical world. I don't know
This scene was
if
the very first one that
about
Bonnie
the
actually
human
shot on
world,
set, making the
but
depiction
it's all
almost palpable to the
modernized
young
now.
actress. She stated
Like big
that, "I
tall
think the first time is
buildings,
always the
like
worst, but after that, it's just
like
like any other
normal
scene you're
cities.
filming." So it
You
was
know
actually
what I
easier
mean?
than I
You know
realized.
how
Harry was also involved in some behind-the-scenes goofing with co-star Emma
London,
Watson.
like the
In the magical
UK,
library
is
scene,
very
Watson
old.
hit Radcliffe
Yeah,
over the head
I know
so hard by accident,
what you
he
mean.
even
They
said, "You can
they
really
got rid
hear
of
the crunch
all the
paper
old
on bone."
buildings and put up new buildings,
Similarly,
like
Lavender
modernize
Dawn's
it
kiss scene
today.
was also
Yeah.
filled with a bit of tension and awkwardness.
It's just such a weird sort of thing about everyone watching you, and it's just doesn't feel very.
Bobby Candy,
This kiss
baby.
scene was
Love
on a
you too,
whole new
baby.
level of weird in comparison to Harry and Ginny's, because it took place in front of dozens of extras. Daniel Radcliffe in particular was extremely excited about this kiss scene, making a point to be present off camera while the smooch took